Welcome to ThoughtConnected.com.au and our next Associate Insight. My name is John Munro and I'm the owner and founder of ThoughtConnect. Today I'll be speaking to Leanne from Volkers Consulting. Hi Leanne.
Hi, how are you, John?
Good. Leanne has been an associate with ThoughtConnect since 2017 and has literally decades of experience in the development, implementation and auditing of work health and safety. Some quality, environment and injury management systems expertise as well. Thanks for joining us today, Leanne.
Thanks, John.
Firstly, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
In terms of my working background, I started in the early 90s as a HR generalist and moved into work health and safety and quality with a heavy industry manufacturer, BHP. I was responsible for documenting systems and auditing across Australia. And I guess that's where I got my start in this sort of technical area. Then in the mid-90s, I had a career break because I had my son, who's now 22. And in the late 90s, I went into contract work. I did a bit of change management work, some employee relations work, and then secured a stint with a bank in the late 90s doing employee relations and work health and safety.
Excellent, excellent. So you've got a really broad experience there across lots of industries. Honing it down a little bit, what are your areas of expertise and specialty?
My areas of expertise is documenting WHS quality environment systems. I guess with 25 years in the corporate environment, there's one thing I learned, and that was that there was a lot of paper, too much paper. So I'm really good at sort of bringing it down to the bare bones basics and using language that makes sense for people. And I guess my background in corporate, I was lucky working in a HR department because it also meant I got an opportunity to coach and mentor and engage people. So I learnt to not only deal with senior management, but also to deal with, the person who's at the front line, the doer, everything. Yeah.
Important. So what compelled you after all that time as an employee to actually strike out by yourself into self-employment and to ultimately become a consultant?
I'm really grateful for the 25 years that I had in the corporate environment. It gave me an opportunity to learn so much and to do so much. One of the things I did get to do was I actually wrote training programs, national training programs, and we won national awards for those, so I'm pretty proud about that. But I guess I got to the point where I felt all I was doing was writing reports, and what I wanted to do was to make a difference. That's my passion. So to do that, it was time for me to look elsewhere, and small business is where I'm at the cutting edge, and I just love working directly with people. The other thing, I guess, after more than 25 years of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, having the opportunity to work anywhere, anytime, and provide an exceptional level of customer service was just an opportunity that you don't often get, apart from when you decide to become a consultant and work for yourself.
Excellent. So you've got a great history, lots of experience. So people who are listening, who may or may not have come across what you do or who have been aware of it, know they should do more, why is what you do so important?
Look, I guess I could start by saying the law says that you should have documented systems in place to make sure that you manage every aspect of your business, not just your insurances, your licenses, but also work health and safety, environment. When they talk about quality, it's about, being able to produce the same outcome all the time for your customers, and that keeps them happy. But more than that, it's really about minimising risk. That's the most important part. I guess what I hear from my clients when they decide to put these systems into place is that they have a very close relationship with most of their workers because it's small. There's only 10, 15 people in the company. And the last thing they ever want to have to do is to ring someone's significant other and explain that, someone's been badly hurt or even killed whilst on the job. Yeah, it's a business owner's nightmare, I think.
It's such a crucial area, but it's such an area that's ignored or the right thing isn't done at all times. And so what are some of the common myths about WHS that you've come across and that you see regularly?
Oh, a couple of the myths. The classic is, I pinched my system from one of my mates who's in the same industry, and I've got it. Here's my health and safety environment management system. And then you say, well, show me what you do with it, and they go, I don't know what to do with it. If it doesn't actually match your business, then it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to work with or do. To be able to say, hey, there's my manual, I'm doing the right thing according to the law, it means nothing. You've actually got to document some things. You've got to be seen to be doing it. And if you end up in a situation where there's a terrible accident, and the inspectorate come in and the lawyers come in, they have a good look at you, if it's not documented, as far as they're concerned, it hasn't happened. So that's when you're really in trouble. Otherwise, I guess what I'm seeing more and more, because my background in corporate means I've worked with national property management groups. I've also worked with government, and where they used to once say, do you have a system? And you go, oh, yeah, I've got a system. You tick it off. They're now actually saying, oh, we're going to come out and have a look at your system and see how it actually works. So to think that you can get away with saying you've got a system but not use it is not going to cut it. And they're going to come out, and then there's going to be all sorts of work that you have to do to maintain your contract.
So the legislation has a broad range of responsibilities, doesn't it? It's responsible for your employees and the contractors and the people who come on your site, but it's also responsible for your own outcomes, and it's responsible for making sure that the legislation is complied with. So it's a very broad subject, and from my experience, it's a subject that people don't take as seriously as they should. So your work is really important. But just to demystify it just a little bit, so what would you do for a particular client if a client called you and said, Leanne, we need your help? What are some of the things that you would go through with them?
I guess initially would be to find out what it is they already have in place, if anything at all, to understand what's driving their interest in putting a system into place and making sure that we focus on those things that are of importance to them in the first place, but also to understand the pace at which they wish to work. More often than not, it's about me going in and breaking down this thing into simple terms and providing them, I guess, a simple structure to work with. Most people, they just don't know where to start with this, and I don't blame them. It's very complex. So we break it down into simple terms, and then we move from there.
And you're seeing that as some of the things and one of the key things that's making you successful in what you're doing, do you think?
Breaking it down into simple terms, yes. Working very closely with the client and with the people who have to actually implement the system. So middle management, supervisors, and the workers are the ones that are really important to get time with and work face to face with. One of the things I found quite successful is to get into toolbox meetings, because then they get to listen to me and ask questions, and that's when the dialogue really opens up, and that's when the learning really starts to help, to take effect. So that's important. The other thing is, what I often find is most small businesses, they're so busy doing whatever it is that they do, they're not necessarily as skilled at writing things like tenders, and so helping organisations write tenders well and therefore be more likely to be successful is one of the key things that I found myself moving into inadvertently because of my background and skills.
So again, I'm hearing that there's this triangular relationship between the legislation and the employer and the employees, and the ability to be able to mould those three together is the key aspect of what you do.
Absolutely. There's no good in having a business owner going, hey, safety is important. The guy's going, oh, no, it's not. It's just too much paperwork. You've got to get them all on board at once.
Yeah, fantastic. So you've been running your own small business after a career in corporate. What's your best tip for other small businesses or consultants or freelancers who are looking at this to take their idea for their business forward?
building a network is critical, particularly with people in your own industry, in your own field, because you can learn from them. Often too, you might get referrals from people in your own industry because they're too busy doing other things and working on other contracts. And that's how I got a really good start, actually, with some great referrals. Secondly, sort of look at joining some kind of networking group, because people have friends who have friends who have friends, and you might find that those friends might need your expertise, your skills and assistance. And thirdly, the area I'm spending more time on at this point is utilising the tools that are available to me through LinkedIn. So watch this space.
Yeah, great advice. So when we are looking as a small business to find somebody with WHS experience, and you pop in WHS into Google, up will come hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of experts around Australia. What should they be looking for though? What should they look for specifically in an expert to come and help them?
I think what you want to be looking for is finding a consultant who you can have a relationship with, that you can build a relationship with, that can bring, particularly for a small business, a very pragmatic and practical approach to work health and safety, and have the time and the ability to work with you at your speed and your pace. You also want to be able to find someone who's quite responsive, because I do know in small business, all of a sudden there's an email that requests something and it's like, oh my God, how am I going to get this done in 2 seconds flat? So you need a consultant that can step in and really help you out very quickly.
Yeah, that's great advice. You've been a part of Thought Connect for a while now. Why are you part of the group?
I guess one of the things I miss now that I'm working for myself is the broader picture around what's happening out there in the business community, spending time, I guess, just talking to other consultants and feeding off them and getting some information or just feedback about what it is that I'm doing and other ways that I can approach situations. There is nothing like having your thought processes challenged. But I've to learn other things as well. I Thought Connect Group put together some sessions where they'll bring in different speakers, and from that I learned things and sharpened my skills in areas that perhaps I wouldn't focus on, like getting my insurances up to speed and checking them off and making sure that I'm covered off as I should be covered off. The other thing is Thought Connect Group do provide incredible mentoring, coaching and support, and that's really helped me take my business to the next level.
Thanks for that. Thanks very much, Leanne. Just finally, can you tell the audience and people listening how they can actually find you now?
Okay, the best place to find me now is on LinkedIn. I have a personal page. I also have a business page. I'm working on my Facebook page. I guess that's just to reach out to friends a bit more. And lastly, well, not lastly, but probably more importantly, I'm also on the Thought Connect Group website.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Leanne, thanks for your time today. Thanks for your great insights. Really appreciate them. If anyone didn't get those details of Leanne, just contact me via my webpage at ThoughtConnect.com.au. And thanks again for listening to ThoughtConnected.com. Thanks again, Leanne.
Thanks very much, John.